Are you looking for more out of your life? Do you need ideas on how to start new businesses and how to move forward in your own personal life? Well, guess what? You have come to the right radio show. At You Can Overcome Anything podcast show, you will learn and hear from many people from all walks of life who are sharing their challenges, their stories, the habits, and the mind shifts they had to overcome to become who they are today. On top, you will get a chance to connect and see how you can overcome anything by networking and learning about your next move through this radio show. I present to you our great speakers at You Can Overcome Anything podcast show with your host, Cesar Espino. Hello there, and welcome back to another episode of You Can Overcome Anything podcast show. It is your host, Cesar Espino, and today I have a special guest. His name is John Kippen. Hey, John, how are you today?
Hey, great, great. Happy to be here.
Awesome, great, great. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Give us a little bit about your background, and I always like to ask my guests where are they originally from and how was their upbringing.
I was born in Southern California in Los Angeles. Two great parents, both attorneys, upper middle class family, went to a rich private school, had everything I needed, loving no brothers and sisters though, and did a lot of theater in my young days, both in high school and college. Started a computer consulting company out of college, and everything was going great. And Then in 2002, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor, which they decided they were going to remove it in less than 5 days. And in the process of removing it, they traumatized my facial nerve, hence my paralyzed face.
Got it. Let me ask you this: were there any specific signs that led to that tumor, or something that maybe growing up you're like, there's something here that doesn't seem right?
I woke up one morning with a loud ringing in my left ear, went to an ENT. By the time I got there, the ringing had gone, and he just said, I have no idea. And then I started having trouble hearing men's voices on the left-hand side. And I went back to the ENT and he ran all sorts of hearing tests and said, hey, it's all in your head. Um, but then I started to get dizzy. Every standing and moving moment, I was dizzy. And I knew that I needed to find a doctor in my medical plan so that I could get the insurance to pay for an MRI. So I went and got an
Hmm.
MRI, and that was the beginning of the trauma, the adversity. Went and saw a specialist. They looked at the MRI. They got on the phone and pushed another patient and said, okay, today's Monday. We're operating on Friday. You have a 4.5 centimeter acoustic neuroma brain tumor. The good news is benign. Bad news is it's killing you by displacing your brainstem. And we got to get it out.
Wow. So 2002, that was when that took place. And prior
Yeah.
to that, you were already doing, so you were doing theater. Tell me about what you were doing. What was your, back in the day before all this took place? What was that thing that was keeping you busy?
I was always doing something. I lived my life with the mantra that it's better to ask for forgiveness and permission. And that's bit me in the butt a couple times, but it's also given me some amazing opportunities just to do some incredible things. So I did everything from I was animation director for a parade float company for the Rose Parade, worked in some major theaters in Los Angeles, helped directing and stage managing, technical direction. The world was my oyster. Anything I wanted to achieve, I didn't let anybody say don't do it. I just went and did it.
Nice. Yeah.
And I remember, I went through the surgery and woke up in surgical recovery, trying to fight to get conscious. It was like I was 20 meters under the sea, and I heard faint people calling my name, and I was just trying to go to that sound, and I finally awoke enough to realized my dad was sitting on the side of my bed, holding my hand and smiling. But I looked around and I didn't see my mom, so I asked for my glasses and put my glasses on. And then I realized my head was bandaged, so the glasses didn't quite fit. But as I got them on cockeyed, I looked over in my mom's face. She had this look of horror, like,
Mm,
what did these butchers do to my poor son's face?
right.
At that point, I didn't really understand because I had full feeling. I just can't move it. And so my mom handed me her compact makeup mirror, and I looked at my face, and I was like, holy cow. And looking back at it, that was really the point where my life started to spiral out of control. They always say you have a face only a mother can love.
Hmm.
Well, my
Yeah.
mom didn't even love my face anymore.
Mm.
How are you supposed to build your self-confidence and maintain your self-confidence when the one person who's supposed to love you unconditionally doesn't want to look at your face?
Wow. Yeah.
And that led to 12 years of hiding from mirrors and cameras. I wouldn't pose for a photograph because photographs are two-dimensional. It would flatten out the face and make the droopiness even more pronounced.
Yeah.
But fortunately, I could run my computer consulting company from home and just stop going out and stop really living.
Yeah. You said something there, and that's something that I think uh, people need to recognize. And I want to know, you obviously have gone through it. You had, let's just say, a different life before this event, and then when this event took place, again, you're silenced for 12 years, right? You're hidden from the world, you're from society, because perhaps people didn't want to accept you, and you felt out of place, right? And you said, you know what, I'm just gonna hide and do something that I can still do. Nevertheless, the idea of doing that, you still went through it. I mean, you're in this dark place, going through that process. Where it could be for other people, it could be different things. It could be childhood trauma. It could be other things that are happening in our lives, in people's lives. Yet they do not know how to go about coming out of that. During those 12 years, what helped you stay on top of your life, your daily life, and not making you do something crazy, right? Because I know it wasn't easy, and so you must have told yourself something or do something to keep you up and going day in and day out.
Yeah, in my hiding days, I didn't really think about the fact that I was hiding. It just was a behavior. It
Got
was
it.
it was a self-defense mechanism that just happened. And only through reflection did I realize that I
Mm.
was actually hiding. But um, I saw a David Copperfield special on television. I did magic as a kid, and it reminded me how much joy magic brought me. And I decided to go to a magic club called the Magic Castle in Hollywood, which is a place where magicians invite their guests to
Hmm.
perform. And again, I had no limitations. It's something that I wanted to do. So I went in and auditioned and passed the audition. And I would kind of lurk around watching other magicians interact with people and learn a couple tricks that I felt comfortable in performing. And there was one magician who offered me an amazing gift. He said, John, if you ever want to just come in the middle of my show and do 5, 10 minutes of your best tricks and let me introduce you and let the audience warm you, me or warm you up to the audience, by all means. So I did that twice. And that gave me the confidence to put together my own 30-minute act and start performing it. And I started to understand that, well, first of all, people were distracted by my facial paralysis just
Hmm.
because they were thinking, did he have Bell's palsy? Did he have a stroke? What's the deal? So I changed my act and I would start saying, "Hi guys, welcome. Oh, I'm glad you're here. A little bit about myself. My name is John and I've been doing magic all my life. But in 2002, I had a brain tumor. And when they cut out my head to get the brain tumor, they traumatized my facial nerve, hence the paralyzed face. But something happened to me on that operating room table. I'm not really sure what it was because I was unconscious. All I know is I recovered. I realized I had acquired some new skills. And then I pause and I
Mhm.
wait for the audience to get on the edge of their chairs, wanted to know what possible skills I acquired by having doctors messing around in my head. And I look to my right and my left like it's the biggest secret. And I lean in and I whisper in a loud voice, guys, I am able to visualize people's thoughts. And then I would perform some mentalism or mental magic. And what that did was a couple things. First, it answered the question that the audiences wanted to know but would never ask. So they could then ignore the facial paralysis and see through my mask into my heart and my storytelling.
Mhm.
But it also allowed me to share something super personal about me. And audiences were attracted to that honesty. And then my mind-blowing magic, patting myself on the back, really, they saw me as someone who had conquered an amazing or a horrible situation. And they said, if John can do it, what's my problem?
Mhm.
And I started to come across people who were going through their own medical crises and just sharing my story and sharing my outlook on life and sharing it was my conscious decision not to hide my face. I talk about, I spent 12 years not hiding my face. And then March of 2020 came. And what happened in March of 2020? Well, of course, the pandemic came.
Pandemic.
And now covering your face with a mask became not only politically correct, but government mandated. And I was not about to fall in line. So I found a company online that would print whatever you wanted on a face mask. And I took the bottom half, a picture of the bottom half of my face, and I sent it to them. And they made me a half a dozen face masks with the part that the mask was covering. And I would walk around in public with those masks, and strangers wouldn't understand and they'd look aside. But people who knew me would stop and do a double take. And without saying a word, they understood that I made the conscious decision that my facial paralysis did not define me if I didn't let it.
Yeah.
I had some amazing experiences with people who were hiding from life for various reasons. And I found the power in my magic and my storytelling and me being my authentic self that I was able to encourage them to stop hiding in their lives. And that's when I realized my true life's mission was to teach people through my resilience and empowerment coaching how to get out of their own way, how not to take themselves so seriously. And it's my mission now. I
Yeah.
love.
I love that, and there's a few things that come to mind. Number one, not only are you've become an inspiration for the people to say, hey, if I'm going through this or I went through this, and I've been able to accept who I am as a person, because deep down that's what it is, and regardless of what took place, I'm able to make something off of that. And I always tell people that from pain, a purpose is born. Sometimes we have to recognize what would that be, right? And so I love that you became an inspiration, and you are an inspiration to many. And then also, as you're speaking and you're talking to people and your audience, you're creating something that a lot of people, even in their right mind, if they have no complications, have one challenge, and that is people see me, they see the outside of me, and yet they cannot see through me, right? In your case, you've been able to identify that. Don't just see me for who I am on the outside surface, see through me, and then you're gonna be able to get to know the real me, right? And that's one thing that I think many people listening to this here are need. They need that, and not letting any of that get the best out of you, right? Going through your experiences, I also tell people that sometimes it is not so much about the after fact. It is for sure. It's that people want to see people that are in the process or in the progress of becoming better and going through that. And you're doing that. You've done that, and you're still doing that. We're like, hey, I'm this is for you. I'm sure this is a daily think that you're working on this process to get you to what is my going to be my next thing, right? What is going to be my next thing?
It's a mindset. I'm a professional magician. And, when people say, oh, that's impossible, I look at it as a challenge.
Yeah.
And I break that word down, impossible, into two words. I'm possible.
Mm-hmm.
That's a mindset. That's a frame of reference. That's what you need to take your challenges and say, I don't care what other people think. I don't care to be judged. The only person who should judge yourself is you. And it should come from your heart instead of your head.
Hmm.
And once you learn how to truly love yourself again, the world becomes your oyster. And you ooze this essence that attracts people to you. And not in a physical, sexual way, but just in a strength and a power. People want that. People want to drink your secret sauce. And the greatest gift is having people accept themselves for who they are and stop hiding. I receive so much pleasure of seeing them transform their lives and put their own fragility into practice. And just resilience is how quickly you can get off the ground after getting knocked down. Some people, I waited 12 years, man,
Yeah.
and now I help people build resilience. It's a muscle in 12 to 14 weeks. Um, it's just, it's my life calling. It's just what I was put on this earth to do.
Right. Once you got out of that and came off of that after 12 years, said, "Hey, I'm that's it. I'm changing. I'm doing this." Let's talk about the things that you're now doing, not only to deliver this message and help other people through your message. You do magic sh shows. Tell me a little bit about the things that you have going on and you do for yourself now.
I'm right now in the midst of a rehearsal. I have a very close friend named J. Scott Berry, who we're opening his new one-man show at the Aaron Hotel in Vegas.
Mm,
So he's been with me for the last couple of weeks. We've been working multiple hours a day on this show, and we open next Thursday.
nice.
I'm directing a one-man show on in
Yeah.
Vegas. You know, who gets the opportunity to do that?
Right.
I just said yes. Jay said, hey, I need a director. Will you direct me? And I said, hell yeah.
Right.
I wrote a book called Playing the Hand You Were Dealt. And
Mm,
it's a memoir of my life. It's got really great stories of me not taking no for an answer and all of the things that I've accomplished. And for your listeners, if you get to the end of this podcast, I'm going to give you a link where you can download a PDF version of the book because it became a bestseller in the first day it was
nice.
out. One of
Yeah.
my closest, dearest friends is Jamie Lee Curtis, and she wrote the foreword for this book.
Got it. Yeah.
She also starred in a documentary that was filmed about my story, John's Ultimate Illusion. And all I had to do was ask her to be involved. That was
Yeah.
the hardest part.
Yeah. What do you think have been some of the biggest lessons you've learned through this journey, the journey that you're walking on now? What are some things that really have impacted you in a positive way that you want to share that with the listeners?
Don't take no for an answer. You know, Nothing is impossible. There's always a way to accomplish it. Now, you may not want to put in the effort. That's your choice.
Yeah.
But happiness is a choice. Life is not about the destination. Life is about the journey and finding moments of joy in each and every moment of that path. We don't dream, as kids. I would have my parents would have some friends over and they would turn to John, I'm 5 or 6, and John, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I would say, I want to be an astronaut. No, I want to be a fireman. Wait, I want to be a rock star. And then I go into my room and I grab a couple rulers and pencils and start playing a drum set and getting my air guitar out. And I'm in this land of make believe where everything was possible. And I would dream and I would imagine. And then we go to school and we adopt our parents or whoever raised us, our belief systems, whether or not they're what we truly believe or not. Those are the beliefs that we adopt.
Mm.
And we stop dreaming as adults. And you get to be where you're ready to retire. You look back and yeah, you bought a house and you started a family and but are you really feeling fulfilled? Is that really what you wanted? So many times I'm walking down the street with a friend and I'll just say, "How are you doing?" And they go, "Well, I'm living the dream." And I stop and I say, "Caesar, is it your dream you're living or somebody else's?"
That's a good question.
And so many times, all of a sudden, they stop in their tracks and realize they're living their mom's dream, their wife's dream, their sister's dream, but it's not their dream. And people wonder why they get to that midlife crisis, and they realize, is this all there is?
Mm.
And it's because they haven't defined their dream. That's what I want people to go to bed. Before you go to bed every night, just sit there with your eyes closed, put on some soft music, and just go into that land of make believe where everything is possible and dream what you want tomorrow, the next week, the next month, the next year to look like. And then you go to sleep and you wake up and you wake up invigorated
Hmm.
because now you're closer to finding your dream and making it a reality. It's the dreaming that's the hard part. Making the reality just takes perseverance.
Yeah, no, that's huge. You talk about it when we talk about, when you grow up, you have this idea of becoming this person, and again having those dreams, and we lose that. I like what you said here, and you said something about being different is a superpower, right? And I think that's huge. Elaborate a bit more on that because again, sometimes people say because I'm different, the society does not accept me. I cannot get into specific groups. That there's limitations that come with that. Um, let's talk about that because I think that we are all unique. We all have something to contribute to society. At the bare minimum, we all have something to contribute to our lives and make our lives better because that really is what counts. Except again, we are so inundated with social media and all these different platforms that we're looking for acceptance. And because we are different, we feel like we're never gonna get accepted and you're left behind.
You got to learn how to celebrate your differences. Wear them on your sleeves as badges of honor. If it's something you're balding or you're losing whatever, you're overweight or whatever your physicality is, people judge you in the first 5 seconds.
Mm,
It's your job to tell them who you are through what you're passionate about. Because when you start talking about what brings you joy and what you're passionate about, you can't help people be inspired to think about what they're passionate about. And they're attracted to you in not a physical, sexual way. They're attracted to you in a spiritual way. And they want some of your secret sauce.
mm,
When you really learn how to accept yourself, and not in the head, but in your heart, in your gut, accept yourself and not care what other people say, not care what the other people think. You become a visionary. You become an example for other people to draw strength from. And again, I said it before, that feeling you get once you give of yourself to others, and you see that light bulb moment go off in their head when they realize that they're their worst enemy. And they make that conscious decision to forget about what other people think and start living their authentic lives. Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's That's exactly what it is. Um, if people want to know more about where they can connect with you, if they want to know more about you, how can they find you? Where can they connect with
Thank
you?
God for Google, man. You can find everything I'm doing on Google. But my main website is John Kippen, P as in Paul, P as in Paul, N as in Nancy.com. That's my master site. It'll take you to my speaking section. It'll take you to my coaching session. You know, as a public speaker, getting opportunities out there to change lives in the world's biggest stages, that's tough. There are a lot of speakers out there.
Mhm.
So that's why I got certified as a life coach so that I could work with people one on one because that's where I'm most effective. So you can go to kippencoaching.com and book a free no obligation call with me where I can talk about how my program works and see if it's a good fit. And
Let's talk about your program. Let's talk about what you do for people in your coaching business, because obviously you're definitely, you've walked a lot of different experiences, and so you can definitely relate to a lot of that stuff. Tell me about your coaching business. What do you do in terms of what kind of people are you looking for to help in that coaching business?
I'm looking for anyone who feels stuck in their life, you know, whether or not it's a medical trauma or a physical disability or whatever, or people who are, feeling like life is hard and they don't know where to move. They don't know what to move to make, they're unsatisfied with their job, but it's what's putting a home or a roof over their head. So they're feeling stuck. I have reversed engineering. My biggest strength is my creative problem thinking skills. I am a creative problem solver, was since the day I was born. And so I have looked at my journey over the last 20 years, and I reverse engineered how I became to be the John Kippen you see today,
Mm.
you hear today. And so I broke all of those into 10 steps that I teach and I help my clients understand. The first couple weeks, it's building rapport, it's getting you to trust me, it's for me to kind of figure out what you're hiding from. People don't necessarily realize what they're hiding from. It takes 2 or 3 hour sessions for me to kind of ask a question that gets you to realize, wow, that's that's what I'm hiding from.
Mm.
Then once we build that rapport, we build that trust. Then I just go through my 10 steps for building self-confidence, building resilience. And the steps are out of order. I pick the one that I think best fits for that week's hour and a half session. And you have a lot of soul searching to
Mm.
do, but you know, you have a friend, you have someone who is invested in your own success.
Right.
How many times can you say you've got a good friend who's invested in your success?
Not that many. Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
Right. Right.
And that's what I offer my clients. I become your cheerleader. I give you support when you need it. I kick you in the ass when you need it. Just life is too short to just be in indecision.
Yeah.
We
100%.
need to try something. And if it doesn't work, okay, we try something else.
Yeah.
Eventually, we'll figure it out.
Are your coaching programs tailored specifically to the person, or they're more or less all the same type of time for you?
Yes, it's to the person,
Got
to
it.
whatever they're struggling with. I
Got it.
started coaching a gentleman who wanted to come have some career coaching because I built a successful computer consulting company. And after 2 or 3 sessions, we discovered that what his biggest challenge was ADHD. And so I spent the week studying on ADHD and I got certified as an ADHD coach. And then we started talking about, okay, what does ADHD, how does it manifest in his life? And what are some tools that he can use to put that in perspective and turn that into a superpower? It's whatever you come to me. It's not always how it starts that's important. It's how it ends,
Yeah.
you know? So I'm
That,
an
that
open book.
yeah, no, that's huge. That's huge. So besides coaching, you do magic shows, you still
Right.
do performance, you also do public speaking
I
uh,
do.
throughout the states and sharing your story, and then you're an author also.
Yeah.
Good, good.
I wear a lot of hats,
Yeah,
but they all have a common goal is to inspire people to get out of their own way.
yeah. Let me ask you this in terms of um, daily things you do. I know everybody has some daily habits that they do on a day-to-day basis, and um, I know I do. Do you have any daily things that you do every day that you have to do to kind of keep you up and running, kind of like your non-negotiables that you want to share?
Yeah, I dream both before I go to bed and I daydream for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I clear my mind and let ideas pop into my head. And then I figure out how to take action on them. Um, Again, impossible is impossible.
Hmm.
Whatever you put your mind to, we are born strong. And it's just society's judgments and values and limiting beliefs that tear that out of you. And meditation, journaling, man, journaling is important.
Mm.
You have to write for an hour, spend 5 minutes a day just writing down your thoughts, and then go back to them a week later and read them. You'll be amazed what insights that come to you on your own without anybody else's help,
Right.
just by writing a problem down. You write something down on a piece of paper. The paper does the worrying for you now, and you can move on to living.
Yeah.
And you go back to that piece of paper and you read it, and now you're in a place to solve whatever that issue is. Um, Let the paper do the worrying for you.
Yeah. Good. I love that. Let me ask you one last question. So, for the
Uh,
people that are watching us, seeing this right now, if they're going through any challenges, whatever challenges that might be, what is one thing you can say to them so they can start overcoming that challenge?
be your authentic self, no matter what that looks like. People will see through a facade in a second.
Mm,
You cannot be an amazing actor and hide who you truly are. People will see right through you. And when you're putting up a facade, they have no time for you.
yeah.
It's like, well, he can't be or she can't be real with me. I don't have the time to be their friend. Just reach out to somebody. I spend a lot of time on social media and I'll have friends that'll post something on social media that's not in their character.
Mm,
And most people see it and they go, yeah, he's having a bad day. And they move on with their lives. Not me. I stop. I pick up the phone and I call them and I
mm,
say, hey, sister, I saw this post. It just didn't sound like you. What's going on, brother?
yeah.
Let's talk about it. And you'll be amazed the kind of conversations that come out of that.
Yeah.
People are reaching out for help in the strangest ways. And it can just be a one sentence,
Yeah.
or it can be a emoji, or it can be whatever, a piece of clip art they get offline that basically shares where they are at that moment, showing that despair. And all they need is a friend to notice them and take time out of their day just to be present, not judge, be an active listener, and just prove to them that they are not living in a vacuum. They are not alone. They are being heard. Man, being heard is such an amazing gift you can do is hearing someone.
Yeah, and you're definitely right. I think that indirectly, there's a lot of ways that people try to communicate and or are reaching out for help, and or even if they're not, as you mentioned, you can kind of tell when somebody is indifferent or they're not their normal self, and so when that takes place, it's like not a lot of people do what you do. Whereas, hey, let me pick up the phone and see what is going on, because in reality, that is something that sometimes people need. They just need a little bit of that. That for first they don't ask for help because they feel like no one's helping them, or there's nobody going to be there for them. So therefore, they don't ask for help. Yet indirectly, they're probably going through a lot of different challenges. So it is good to be able to do that, and I think that's a huge benefit to have people like you said. Even in your coaching program, you have someone that's going to be generally there to help you get through things that you're going through and get you to the next level in your life.
We all have the ability to change someone else's life, one interaction at a time. And trust me when I tell you, the feeling you get from realizing that you changed someone's life just by listening, by dropping by unannounced, by picking the phone and calling them, as opposed to texting or sending an email. They need to hear that voice. They need to be with you. You will build your own self-confidence. It's an amazing gift you give yourself by being generous to others.
100%. Well, John, thank you again. I really had a great conversation with you, and thank you for sharing this space with me. I truly appreciate it, and I know that you're definitely an inspiration for a lot, and you are a living proof that when you set your mind into it and you have that positive mindset, you can definitely get through even some of the most challenging times in life. So, again, thank you for being here. Anything you want to say before I let you go?
Yeah. Happiness is a choice.
Mm.
Happiness is a choice. Go to johnkippen.com/free gift and download a copy of my book. It'll save you $24.95. But I think you'll really enjoy reading it, and you'll laugh a lot and maybe shed a tear or two, but come away feeling inspired, feeling like you understand me and that I can I can help you.
I love that. I love it. Once again, John, thank you again for being here. And for the rest of you guys, do me a favor, go ahead and share this message because somebody definitely needs to hear that. Go ahead and connect with John and tell everybody because, again, one person hears this and he can change their life positively. We have done our part. Thank you again, and I'll see you guys at the next episode of You Can Overcome Anything podcast show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Cesar Espino, real estate investor, business coach, and consultant, and author of the book, You Can Overcome Anything, Even When the World Says No. My number is 424-501-6046. In my book, I talk about making the necessary changes to shift your mind for prosperity and certainty. Pick up your copy at Amazon. I also love helping families with their real estate and can purchase your house fast and all cash. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. My number is 424-501-6046.
Thank you for having me today. I am so glad you've tuned into this podcast. You can find me at your favorite podcast platform where you can like, subscribe, comment, and share. And to learn more about myself, my services, you can find me at www.cesarrespino.com, or you can also find me at your social media. Thanks for joining me, and I am looking forward to having you at the next episode. And know you truly can overcome anything.